When I said that you don't want to miss these 5 manga that I will be recommending to you, I mean that. I have read hundreds of manga because apparently, I have so much free time. Some of them are meh, some are okay, but most of them are in a league of their own. You can easily pick up a random manga that you have no idea, no background whatsoever, and be mind blown by it because that's just how mangas are built. It's not like anime where there's a seasonal release, a predetermined amount that will air in that specific season. In manga, there's nothing like that. It's free for all, it's Royal Rumble, it's an open world RPG where you need to explore the world to find those one-of-a-kind experience and rare and precious treasures. But I understand that not all of us has the time and patience to try out unknown mangas. That's why you're here, right? To seek recommendations from those who have so much free time in their hands, like me. I actually don't have that much free time. I have so many requirements and assignments that I need to do and I'm gonna fail those subjects if I don't do them, so watch the video until the end so I don't feel bad by myself by not prioritizing my studies. Thanks. A quick note before we move on to the actual list. Some of the manga that I will feature in this video have heavy themes like bullying, suicide, depression, and the like. I don't know why, but as I get older, I tend to appreciate stories that tackles the human mind and human interactions more. I just get amazed easily by what people are capable of just to satisfy their needs and the length of what they are willing to do just to achieve what they want. Also, I made sure to pick mangas that are not really well known so you don't feel that you just wasted your time watching this video and actually picks up a new manga to read. So, without further ado, let's begin. The first on the list is No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai. Does the name of the author ring a bell to you? You've probably heard his name before. He is a pretty famous Japanese author after all. Or if you don't remember him as being a Japanese author, then you've probably watched a character from a certain series with the same name as his, Dazai, from Bungo Stray Dogs. That character is based off of him after all. No Longer Human is actually an autobiography of the author. It is a novel that was adapted into many forms of media such as a movie, an anime series, and eventually a manga. The story is about Yozo Oba, the class clown who is liked by everyone in school. But that clowning is just a facade because he can't really understand human emotions. This stemmed from his father's manipulation ever since he was a child. The only place that he can be his real self is the art class that he attends to where he met Horiki. Horiki became a catalyst to Oba's descent to the dark side. They drink, smoke, party, go to soaplands, order a service, and more. This results to Oba not attending school anymore but he doesn't really want to attend to in the first place. His father saw this and took away his luxurious life in hopes that he would turn to a new leaf, but it just made it worse. Oba completely ditched school, he joined an extreme activist group by accident, his father disowned him, he lived in the streets, and so on. His life just took a complete 180 and it was a downward spiral at this point. Everything that he tries, he fails. Even when committing suicide, he still fails. Whenever something good happens in his life, when everything seems to have worked out pretty well and he escapes the abyss that he's into, the abyss always finds a way to pull him deeper and deeper to the point of no return. If I'm gonna summarize Oba's life, it's like he just keeps taking L's over and over again his whole life. When I was reading the story of Oba, there is this lingering thought that keeps crossing my mind. This can happen to me. This can happen to anyone. And that thought scares me. After the author finished this novel, he apparently succeeded to end his life by drowning himself, thus ending his miserable life and finally able to rest. This next one is called Rebuild World by Ayamura Kirihito. In this story, we follow Akira, a boy who lives at Slum Town, located just outside Kugamayama City, a city inside gigantic walls where the insanely rich people live. This gigantic wall serves as protection against the danger brought by the wasteland and the ruins beyond it. In order for Akira to escape the hellhole that is the slum town, he aspires to be a hunter, individuals who venture the ruins beyond the wasteland in search for relics from the old world. These relics fetch an insanely amount of money, enough for one to live in the city inside the walls. The story begins with Akira going to one of these ancient ruins only to be targeted by hunter bandits when a beautiful woman appears in front of him and instructed him with these directions in order for him to survive. Turns out that this woman is only an augmented reality created from the high-grade technology from the old world. This woman, named Alpha, offered to support Akira in exchange for completing a commission from her by capturing a high-level ruin, and this is where the adventure of Akira and Alpha starts. Every aspect of this manga is clearly derived from MMORPGs, from the open world aspect of the story, the main storyline which is the commission from Alpha, a bunch of side quests so the main character grew stronger before the main quest starts, the AI who guides the MC in his journey just like a companion in every RPG game, the leaderboards or the ranking of the hunters, and lastly, the loots in the form of relics. Other aspects which make Rebuild World worth the read is the design of the creatures, from weapon dogs with cannons growing out of their backs to automatons with high-tech optical distortion camouflage. The art style is also pretty sleek and rough sometimes, but in a good way. But personally, nothing beats a manga with top-tier waifus in it, and Rebuild World is blessed in that aspect as well. It only has 13 chapters currently, so you can catch up pretty quickly. On to the next one. Are you a fan of Detective Conan or just mystery stories in general? Then this is your lucky day because I just recently found a detective mystery manga with an entertaining premise. Detective Xeno and the 7 Locked Murder Rooms is what its title suggests. A detective whose goal is to solve the 7 locked murder rooms. The story starts with Xeno waking up from a hospital suffering from amnesia but with his superb detective skills still intact. In the next scene we go to a football match. It's the climax of the game. The pitcher threw his winning shot when suddenly a spear-like object struck the pitcher's body, killing him immediately in front of all the audience inside the stadium. This is where Detective Xeno comes in, and of course, as the amazing detective as he is, he solved the case rather easily. But here comes the twist. The whole stadium is designed to be a tool for the perfect murder, and the one who designed it is Kyouichi, one of the greatest architects in the world. Because Xeno solved the trick behind the stadium, Kyouichi challenged Xeno to find and solve his greatest creations, the 7 locked murder rooms, pieces of architectural brilliancy, each designed to execute the perfect murder. Several days later, after the declaration of war from Kai, the unthinkable happened. Kyouichi, the one who designed the 7 locked murder rooms, is seen dead in his house, his body located inside the perfectly closed room. Thus begins the mystery behind the first locked murder room. It is as dramatic and intense as it gets. The mystery of the 7 locked murder rooms is cool and all, but the subplots with Xeno having amnesia and trying to get it back, and the mystery person behind the continued operation of the murder rooms when Kyouichi is already dead, really makes the story more interesting and more engaging to read. The cases are complicated as hell, but what's fun is guessing who's the mastermind behind the kills. The story gives you an adequate amount of clues so you can figure out on your own who might be the murderer, and guessing it correctly is the most satisfying thing ever. So if you're a fan of detective and mystery type of stories, then you should check Detective Xeno and the 7 locked murder rooms. If you've been reading manga for a long time now, or even watch anime, then you know how powerful anime and manga can be. It can turn a somewhat boring activity into the hypest, most entertaining shit that you've ever watched or read in your entire life. I've been reading Blue Period, and if you know what Blue Period is all about, the main premise is just about painting. But goddamn, it's one of the most beautiful looking manga that I've seen in a while and has the potential to be one of my top mangas of all time. But this is not about Blue Period. What I'm just trying to say here is nothing is impossible when it comes to anime and manga. Even the most boring subject in school, in this case, ethics, can turn out to be the most life-changing manga that you read if handled by the right author. And that is the case in this manga called We Shall Now Begin, Ethics. I don't know about you, but I think I speak for the majority if I say that ethics class is boring. Most of the time, it's just your teacher constantly talking about concepts that is hard to understand until you doze off and fall asleep. But of course, like any subjects, when handled by a good professor, can turn out to be very engaging. And Takayanagi-sensei is that teacher. We Shall Now Begin Ethics is about a group of students who pick ethics as their elective class, which is headed by Takayanagi-sensei. With his cool and mysterious demeanor, Takayanagi-sensei confronts his students' problems and beliefs using ethics. Like I said earlier, this is one of those mangas that can change your outlook in life when you read it. I didn't know that I have this curiosity in me about life until I've read this manga. Some of the concepts are hard to understand, but when applied to real-life setting, it just becomes simple and easy to grasp. Every chapter, the focus changes from student to student with their different problems and beliefs. Sometimes, I see myself in the situation of some students because I've been there. They tackle heavy topics such as bullying, suicide, loneliness, self-harm, superiority complex, everything. The concept that stood out to me the most is Zen or living a good life. At least what you think a good life is. So please check out We Shall Now Begin Edicts. The concept is admittedly boring, but I assure you, it's far from being boring at all. Can you say that you have a talent? Maybe you can sing, dance, draw, paint, good with computers maybe? It's hard to say if they are talents at all. Maybe you have a decent understanding of them but not to the point of being the best at it. Most people struggle to find the talent inside them. Maybe you're wondering why I'm talking about talents right now. Don't worry because it has something to do with our next manga. Petals of Reincarnation or Reincarnation no Kaben is about gaining talents but in a whole nother level. The story is about a young student named Toya who is struggling to find his talent. He already tried various sports and activities but to no avail. On the other hand, a classmate of his by the name of Haito already found her talent in kendo. One evening on the way to his cram school, he spotted a killer with a peculiar trait. Petals are dripping from his slit throat. He also found her classmate Haito in the scene. Haito also slit her throat but instead of blood, petals start dripping from his neck just like the killer. This act is called the transmigration. By slitting your throat using a branch, you're pulling out the talents in your previous life and making it your own. In Haito's case, she pulled out the talent from her previous incarnation, the talent of Miyamoto Musashi, a great samurai from Japan. If you're not still amazed by this, then let's mention names that you are familiar with. Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, Nostradamus, John von Neumann, Charles Darwin, all of these great historical figures reincarnated as talents. How fucking cool is that? But of course, you can choose the talent that you gain. For all you know, your previous incarnation might be of a well-known murderer in history or a killer clown. It's actually quite ironic that you need to kill your present self by slitting your throat just to get the talent of your previous incarnation. It's like you've already given up on your future and already embraced your past life because your current incarnation is weak. I can't blame them though because I'll also do what they've done if given a chance without question. I'm not memeing if I say that I've learned some parts of history by reading this manga. I didn't know who Albert Fish is until he was featured in this manga as a cold-blooded killer just like his real-world counterpart. Sometimes they actually put little notes at the end of each chapter about some of these historical figures listing all their deeds and contribution in history. So if you're a fan of history and also fighting mangas, then check out Petals of Reincarnation or Reincarnation no Kaben. Those are the 5 mangas that you surely don't want to miss. Originally, I planned to feature 10 mangas in here but because I'm so passionate about each of them, I started to keep talking and talking to the point where the video exceeded 20 minutes and that's a pretty long video to make and you might feel bored to that, so I decided to just split it into 2. I will upload the next part after this one, so if you want to be notified, then please subscribe. That's it for me for now. I'm Villain in Glasses and enjoy your reading. Bye!